Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Schmitt, and it's my honor to serve as the CEO of the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association and Foundation. And we are here today with Mark Bank, a 3L student at Cleveland State University School of Law, to talk more about his summer experience as a part of our environmental scholarship program. And so we're excited to talk to Mark and learn more about that. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about the scholarship itself. So since 1994, the Environmental, Energy, and Natural Resources section of the CMBA has been able to provide a scholarship to law students who are taking unpaid summer internships to work in areas in and around environmental law. And so it's really ensured that Cleveland area law students or students attending local law schools can afford to pursue these critical experiences and support nonprofits and support government opportunities in a way that they may not otherwise be able to do. And so we love the scholarship, and we love that we get to work with young scholars who are interested in this area. And so we're so thankful to be able to do this every year. Big thank you to Mike Goler, to Maureen, Brennan, for your leadership of the section, the environmental law section, which is what I'll call it from now on, and your commitment to clean energy and community-focused solutions. It's really the leadership amongst people at the bar that allows this scholarship to continue. And so we're so thankful for the two of them and for others who are so instrumental to making it possible for this scholarship to happen. So, hi, Mark.
Hello, Chris.
So thanks for joining me today to talk more about this. So I'll give you the softball question to start. Why law school? Are you from Cleveland? Give me the 60-second bio.
Well, yeah, I've been a Northeast Ohio resident my whole life. And I was looking to make a change. I was a software engineer in the healthcare space, back end work at IBM and then McKesson for 6 years total. And I just kept on reading these intergovernmental climate reports. And being an empirically minded person, I couldn't ignore it. So I decided to make a change, and it seemed like a law degree is one of the best levers you can grab if you're looking to change policy. So, and we had just moved in. My wife, Claire Bank, is an architect in Willoughby. She works for Then Design Architecture. She stuck with the degree. We met in undergrad, and I switched from architecture to computer science last minute. But we had just purchased our first home in the Detroit Shoreway neighborhood, and I was looking around. I was like, well, I would love to go to law school. Cleveland State seemed like an absolutely fine institution to get this underway. So.
That's awesome. So in some ways, the topic of environmental law and policy brought you to law school even more than law school brought you to the topic. Is that fair?
100%. Yep. I had a friend of mine go through law school, and I watched him study for the bar, and I understood what that looked like on a person's face. And I said, well, that's not for me. And then just 6 years later, the climate figures kept rolling in, and I was like, well, got to do it. So
That's great. We all survived the bar for better or for worse. I know you're coming up to it, so it probably doesn't mean as much. I had darker hair before I took the bar exam, but it all came out in the wash. And so, tell us more about the summer experience that you had. So, after receiving the scholarship, you were able to identify something pretty awesome with the Shaker Heights Law Department, right?
yes, so that was through in the spring of this year. I was taking a land use course with visiting Professor Beth Naguski, and she had a guest speaker in the Shaker Heights Law Department director, Bill Gruber. And I just happened to have a resume on me and knew that Bill was on the board of directors for the Ohio Environmental Council, where I had interned previously. So I handed him it. I said, if you're looking for a summer intern, let me know. And I was bracing. I was prepared for this, but it tends to be that scholarships at Cleveland State don't cover summer tuition. So it was this was so timely. I printed off an email that I sent Dominica, I was saying I can't express how grateful I am for the endorsement, because it's such incredible financial support. It's great moral support. Um, the first thing that I was researching was um, legislation against the clean energy tax credits. And so I was watching that unfold in my first days on the job. And then summer tuition rolled through and trampled our checking account completely. Um, so I was feeling on the ropes when I got the news, and I can't really express what it meant to me. It's far more than just a figure. Um, it really made this like possible.
That's awesome, and we love to hear success stories like that, and to invest back into young scholars who are doing important work. But as you mentioned, Ohio is a interesting testing ground, I think, for how clean energy is being seen across the nation, and moving away from a government supported model. And more towards the private investment model. And at Shaker Heights, you were kind of in the middle of those conversations, not only from all of those hearings that were happening, but all of the laws and regulations that happened to change while you were a part of that program. And so, tell us more what it's like to be on the front lines of these conversations. Is it what you expected? What's something new you learned?
It's fascinating. You're not really exposed to municipal law in your core um, doctrinal classes. So I think it's really our internships. I mean, we have a strong legal market, and Cleveland State is strongly connected to that market. So I think this is kind of a standard pattern. A lot of students will go intern with like Cleveland or one of the first ring suburbs. Um, but this, yeah, it's been fascinating to see just how much gets covered in municipal law. Like at first, I was kind of confused. I was like, well, why is our environmental, energy, and natural resources section sponsoring municipal law participation? And frankly, almost almost any section could sponsor a municipal law program, I think, because they cover so much. There's three full-time attorneys at Shaker Heights, and I've shadowed all of them doing various work, but um, the fact that Shaker Heights was undertaking or planning and considering and have started to undertake a massive solar roof was very, very timely. It's been fascinating to see how much goes into that sort of project. All the planning from like all these departments. Um, you wouldn't know if your background is a computer science degree, you really have no idea how the civic process works.
Yeah. So tell us more about the Power of Clean Future Ohio Coalition. So I know Shaker Heights is part of this bigger group of municipalities who are working on these solutions.
Mm, yes, so that is um, kind of an attempt to federate from like a grassroots level to provide expertise in this area in clean energy. I want to say it was started around 2020 or so. It's like 4 or 5 years old or so. Um, but it it's a challenging area to understand locally. Energy and electricity are like very complex domains.
Mhm.
Um, not to like undersell the complexity of other utilities, but it's not water. It's not like paving a street. It moves electricity moves at the speed of light. You've got to constantly balance um, supply and demand perfectly, or everything explodes.
Mhm.
You really need expertise in the tax law that's constantly shifting. You need expertise in on the utility side of things. So Power Clean Future Ohio is this collaborative between counties and cities to sort of pool their resources together and get expert advice pursuing grants. Um, I love it because it's kind of a way to overcome, if you're at the local level, you're kind of strapped for resources. So that kind of addresses that, I think, pretty well.
Yeah. So, what do you hope to do next now that you've had this experience at Shaker Heights and been awarded this scholarship? I know you're in your 3L year now, but how do you see leveraging what you've learned through this experience into what happens after law school?
This has really helped clarify things. Because even so, one, I'm taking this interview from Shaker Heights Law Department because I'm their law clerk right now. So the internship worked out.
Great.
Um, but I've been looking into, yeah, could I work on sustainability at a local level? A lot of cities have a dedicated sustainability director. There's a sustainability department, for some of the larger, like I think Cleveland has one, Cuyahoga County is certainly focused on that. Um, so those are some routes I'm thinking of, and I guess depending on what the legislative landscape looks like, um, I could go more private and sort of try to. I mean, the whole idea when I joined law school was to spur the clean energy transition. Um, so that's kind of what I'm waiting for is
Sure.
if we get those renewable tax credits back back in the hopper. Um, I'd love to leverage those.
Well, you're well positioned for whatever happens next. I think it's says a lot that you're interested in this specific area, but also that you've succeeded in the internship and also in the law school experience with some fairly unknown factors that are at play in the background in this legal space. And I'll just mention that one of our most involved members, Tom Herron at Franz Ward, is one of the top lawyers in not only Ohio but in the country around adoption of medical marijuana and then ultimately recreational marijuana, and that's been his focus area. And I know from conversations with him going through law school and just his experience with, I think this is going to take off. I think this is going to grow into a really defined practice area. I think there's something to it, and he really has helped write the book on what those laws look like. And I'm hopeful for you to have the same experience that
Hmm.
you can leverage what you've learned in the law school to really help define this sector and continue to push it forward in the years to come.
I hope so. We kind of did that with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, frankly. That was a huge shaper of national policy. So I'm just kind of waiting for what comes next year. Um,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So I think it's so important for members of the bar and members of the environmental law section to see the results from investing in folks that are going to be continue to shape the narrative around this area of law. And so I'm thankful that we hired another winner in you getting this scholarship and being able to go off and do important work in Shaker Heights. But also that we continue to invest in this very important area of law as it continues to be shaped and defined every single day in Washington and in Columbus, and as you said, in places like Shaker Heights that we often don't think of as real policymakers. So what's are you looking forward to the bar exam? I mean, we're getting to that point. Let me ask you directly, how are you feeling?
I I have been like ever since they gave us agency our second year
Yeah.
to select the classes you'd like to. I mean, I'm an older law student, so I came here with a purpose.
Mhm.
I have not taken a bar class up until this semester. I'm finally taking corporations. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh gosh, this is quite relevant to actually a lot of the things I'm
That's
working
right.
on.
That's right.
So I'm gonna really prepare, yeah, starting now, I guess.
I understand that feeling, and you'll be fine with everything I've gotten to know about you in the last couple of months. I think you'll be well prepared. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the other big project you have going on over at CSU. Tell us a little bit about the symposium and what you hope to accomplish from that.
Hmm. So I am a business editor for the Cleveland State Law Review. That's our flagship journal. It's our general law journal. And I am the symposium chair this year. So October 24th, we will be hosting, I think it's like maybe six and a half CLEs worth of content, but the title is Stress Fractures in Democracy and the People's Response. So we're flying in a number of folks from out of town, and we're going to discuss the judiciary. We're going to discuss community advocacy. We're going to discuss impact litigation and the growing gap between rights and remedies, and the voice of the people. How do you channel that from outside of typical structures of power? And because it's in the people that the ultimate authority of our democracy is vested. So it should be it's an all-day affair at the law school. So anyone who has time or needs CLEs should stop by.
That's great. So, well, Mark, thanks for joining me today to chat about your experience. We're again thankful for you being a part of this program and for the great footprints you're leaving that other people can follow in with this program. Those of you who may be listening who are as inspired by Mark as I am and want to continue to allow scholars like him to be able to pursue this unpaid work, I'd encourage you to visit our website. You can find a place there that you can donate to this fund. If you have students that may be interested in future year scholarships, also check out the website and you can find out all the details there. So thanks again to the environmental law section and for all of the work that you do. Thanks again, Mark. We appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Chris.